Some people say loose-leaf tea is inconvenient to brew because you need to use special teaware. Take this tea bag. It contains 2 grams of tea. But 2 grams of which tea? This is simple dust. As they say, a leopard can't change its spots. Good afternoon, dear friends. My name is Sergei Shevelev, and this is the series of videos, the ABC of Tea, where we compartmentalize all the essential knowledge about tea. So sit down, get comfortable, pour yourself a cup of tea, and we'll begin. So our topic today is tea bags. Actually, I could do a simple thing and just say, take this rubbish away from me, and we could finish this video straight away. But as we want to untangle the question, we'll do it with as much detail as possible. After all, the tea bag is one of the most popular ways of drinking tea. But actually, there's a lot of myths about it. Among them, the scary stories that they're super dangerous, that they contain formaldehyde in the glue, and the poisonous microplastics, which accumulate in the body, as the latest news said, and so on. Apart from all of this, I'll say something that's easier and simpler to prove, and that concerns you to a greater extent when you're drinking tea. Though I'd like to tell you about microplastics more thoroughly. Indeed, a large amount of research has been carried out. They dissected small crustaceans from the Thames in London and found crazy amounts of microplastics inside. And then they found out that these microplastics come from the material used for tea bags. Of course, there are different types of material, but I think that Thomas Sullivan, who invented this tea bag in 1905, he was a restaurateur from New York. He would turn in his grave, because initially it was simply a silk bag where good loose tea was put, and it was brewed in a cup. People considered this convenient and fast, and it really was so. Afterwards, the technology accelerated, became simpler. People wanted to make it more accessible, more easier, and they started using various materials that were not good for this, including quite noxious substances. Fortunately, nowadays the majority of producers don't use glue. This is a tea bag from a large firm. It has a small metal staple. At least it doesn't contain formaldehyde glue, I believe. Nevertheless, you don't know what the material of the bag is made of, what it contains. Here I have tea pyramids. I meant them when I was talking about microplastics, because they're fully made of plastic. And I think we'll need to research how much it dissolves and gets absorbed in the body. In any case, all this is very important for a person who drinks tea. Surely it relates to health, ecology, and so on. But there's something that you can check by yourself. Let's open this bag and look at what's inside. In the beginning, I'll just open a pyramid. I'll pour it out on a saucer, especially to have a look at it. The weight is 2 grams, I won't weigh it. This is a standard weight of a pyramid or a tea bag. It can vary a little, give or take. Here we see the fine fraction. This is partially a herbal additive. It smells like fine herbs. I guess it's peppermint. And there are some pieces of leaves, sticks. Generally, this is not dust in the full sense, but fine tea fraction. This brand is referred to as a kind of high-end tea, but frankly, I wouldn't even call this stuff tea, because it has some herbs mixed in. The herbs are not harmful, but this depends on their kind and quality, how many years they've been laying in storage until now. We pour out the content of the package. Here we see tea dust only, in fine granules. They are produced especially so the tea can extract quickly. There are a few myths I'd like to discuss separately. The first myth is what the tea bag producers often say. They say that this is good chopped large leaf tea. I saw the experiments on TV and even visited one. They take a rolling pin, grind tea, and have a kind of tea dust in tea bags. It's false. In reality, tea can be ground, but in most cases, this is sifted dust or granulated tea for rapid extraction. But this is not the same as large leaf tea, because large leaf tea extracts more slowly when you brew it. It also contains a large amount of essential oils. They evaporate in so fine raw material. Because it has access to oxygen, the package is not hermetically sealed. The bags can be packed for sure. Anyway, this doesn't help. As they say, a leopard can't change its spots. And here we have a surrogate of unclear composition, primarily of bad organoleptic properties, because the tea is obviously not tasty and not fragrant. This is the main downside of tea bags. One more principal argument for tea bags that the producers and customers use, who've got used to them regretfully, is that they're very convenient, and your loose leaf tea is not convenient to brew because the special teaware is necessary. Some devices are necessary for Chinese tea ceremonies and the like. And going forward, I'll say that this is not the whole truth. Anyway, we'll try to dispel the myth of the very convenient tea bag. Well, I throw a tea bag in the glass, a tea pyramid. I brew them. They're infusing. Wow, I haven't done this for years. I don't even know how to. The visualization of this process is not familiar to me anymore. Yeah, and I kind of have a ready-made tea. There were threads, but I broke them not to show the brand. And here they are infusing. It seems that nothing could be easier. Indeed, there is a more simple and tasty way. We take, first, a teapot, and second, a tea bottle. This is the simplest way of brewing. In my other videos, I talk in more detail about the Chinese tradition and how to brew in the right way, in ceramics, in pottery, in teapots and gaiwans and so on. But today, I'll tell you about the simplest brewing method that dispels every myth about the fast and handy tea bag. This is our bottle. The first thing. It's comprised of 3 sections. The glass is double-sided, so you pour boiled water here. Here we have a metal mesh and a lid. You put the tea here. Large leaf good tea. Pour boiling water here. And then simply close it, like this.
Вот так, вот так. И magic.
And
Магия.
magic. Our tea is infusing. You can control the intensity of brewing. In the case of tea bags, you can also take them out. And here we have the same. I brewed it delicately. If I need to brew it stronger, I turn it once more. Apart from that, you can do multiple infusions to brew it a few times and throw away the dregs when it's finished. Now I'm turning it. You can see that the intensity of the infusion is already different. Now I have a prepared tea. I can open it and drink it. It's ready. This is another option, more suitable for offices. Both of them are good for full brewing. Here we put the large leaf tea. To our taste, as much as we want. Pour it with boiled water. And
немножечко ждем.
Wait a little. As you probably know, according to Chinese tradition, the first brew should be poured away. You can pour it out or drink it. Depends on the type of tea. And that's all. I push the button. There's a valve. It raises the clamp and tea pours out. What's important is that you won't overdo it, like in this case. You brew it by pouring, and the exposition is not long. In the case of tea bags, when the raw material is chopped, you don't need to wait so long, because it's fine fraction, which extracts quickly. Leaves take longer to extract, but you can just put a bit more tea. And accordingly, you can infuse many times, not once like tea bags. And your tea turns out to be more delicate, more fragrant. It has a better infusion, and it's ready. You might say, I have to buy the special devices, but I want to just brew it in a mug. But who's stopping you from brewing in a mug? We take the usual tea and put it in a mug. In this case, I have a glass, so you can see, and we infuse it the same way. It's okay to brew normal tea by steeping. Just this tea will be brewing a little longer. It will be more fragrant, You can pour out this tea with the use of a strainer. However, it's not very convenient, this way of brewing. It's better to use Chinese teaware here, either a cup with a lid, a gaiwan or a teapot. This is a more casual way to drink, but even this way is possible, and there's nothing bad about it. As you saw, the main myth is that it's allegedly more convenient to brew tea bags than any other way, and it's not true at all. Large leaf tea can be brewed in even bigger number of ways, including the most simple one, by throwing the tea leaves in boiled water. And you can use the most simple device that's not puzzling at all. You can brew and have the beverage of absolutely different level, different taste, fragrance. It's a different story. But the economic aspect is also important. Many people think that using tea bags is cheaper, and indeed it's absolutely wrong. Because if you take this tea bag, it contains 2 grams of tea. 2 grams, I should ask, of which tea? This is simple dust. And let's say this tea bag costs, we'll take the average price. We won't take the most cheap or the most expensive. Let's say the 50-gram pack may cost 150 rubles. Then 100 grams cost 300 rubles. 300 rubles for bagged rubbish. With 300 rubles, you can buy a pretty good loose leaf tea, be that teas like Dian Hong. I've already spoken about them. If we speak about our assortment, Hei Chu Hao is a green tea, very accessible, costing 230 rubles for 100 grams. And the most important thing is that you'll have more prepared drink from this tea, because the quality of its leaf and the extract is more intense. You'll get more drink, and it will be stronger and tastier. And you won't have to support the unsustainable approach to packaging, because tea bags are also environmentally unfriendly. Every time you throw it away, it goes in the trash. In the case of loose leaf tea, you don't waste anything. You don't pollute the environment, and simply brew normal, good, tasty tea. By the way, when we were preparing this video, we discussed the question about how many people use tea bags. Surprisingly, I got the statistics, among them from chain stores, Russian and international sales, and I found out a surprising fact, that people drink more loose leaf tea in the world. Tea bags get into the market, there's a whole heap of them. Many people have got used to them. But in total consumption of tea, people prefer loose leaf tea, because you only need to taste once and compare bagged and loose leaf tea. Any person who likes tea a little, who likes natural taste, will understand the difference. You don't need to be an aesthete or a specialist, or a connoisseur. You can certainly choose loose leaf tea for everyday drinking, and enjoy your life. And 3 important facts that we cannot pass over in silence, speaking about tea bags. People say very often that they contain many flavourings and colourings. Concerning flavourings, yes, surely they do. Because when you buy straw, you want the taste to be pleasant and delicious, and it's good enough for undemanding customers. And this good enough taste is perfectly provided by flavourings. But the customer who has some experience feels immediately, because in the first steeping you can feel the aroma, and when you try to steep it for the second time, it will give no aroma or taste, because the flavouring quickly dissolves in the infusion. So when you take loose leaf tea, you can steep it a number of times. And weight for weight, with loose leaf tea, you get several times more quantity of prepared brew. What's very important, loose leaf tea is not only cheaper, you also have a drink of much better quality. What about colourings? Well, it's not always true, although I'd like probably to embellish, but I try to use only confirmed facts. Indeed, tea is a strong colouring dye itself. You can check it easily. For example, if I get a couple of drops of tea on my white shirt, it would be difficult to wash them off. The point is that the contents of the tea leaf include many colouring substances which are very persistent. That's why there's no point to colour this beverage. There's no need. Even the cheapest teas are mostly not coloured, but they are flavoured. And one very important issue. You must understand that the production of these pyramids and bags costs money. Moreover, when you put them in a box, you have the tea bags and a box and foil wrapping, pyramids with threads and label, This all costs money. That's why even if you buy loose leaf tea, even if it's packed, be that 100 grams, a foil package, but this is simply one package and nothing else. But here you have a box, a package, bags, threads, staples. This all costs money. Production turns out to be very expensive. Naturally, because of the low price, it's impossible to put good tea inside. That's why, even if you buy loose leaf tea in tea bags from the same price category, in any case you won't get tea of comparable quality because miracles don't happen. Often the production of bags can be more expensive than the production of raw material for tea. Consequently, the choice can fall only on large leaf tea.